Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. This is Marvin speaking. I wanted to do a little bit sort of circumference, of the Jake Slater case, should I say, about obviously the area, Burnley and the surrounding areas as well. And I just wanted to see how hard it is, especially up north, for the young kids and the people who can't find jobs or work or even got a chance of moving away. Let's get straight into this. This is an army, someone who come out of the army who struggled and had a hard time. And so he's been interviewed, and it is a very, very interesting take on this.
With former British Army soldier Derek Morgan, who before being given the flat he's in now, said he was housed on a road that left him exposed to bullying and even assault.
It was through the Stepping Stone project that I was put onto by the council. It took them 7 months before I got the Calico property that I'm in now. I'm safer because I'm not in the area that the Stepping Stone project put me in. Violence, drugs, all that. I've had to call the police so many times now. In an area like Burnley, you don't call the police.
Why is that?
It's a case of if you call the police, you're classed as a traitor. I've
Wow.
lived in Burnley most of my life, and that is the motto. So people are getting assaulted, mugged, bullied, and they still don't call the police. Well, I certainly worked it out the hard way, yeah.
Derek was eventually rehoused by Calico, the largest provider of affordable social housing in Burnley. They say their purpose is to make a real difference to people's lives, but this doesn't ring true for everyone.
I still don't have a key to the front door to get into my property.
So is it just open all the time?
Well, no, not all the time, no. Sometimes I have to go and sleep at a friend's because I can't get in. Now, all the people that have lived here, I've discussed with them and they said they've been complaining to Calico for some time now about the same thing. There's no extraction facilities in here. There's damp on the bottom of the window, they still haven't sorted that out. They're appalling.
So you're ex-forces, you served in the British Army.
Yes.
How does it feel to be treated like you have been in these living conditions?
I just felt like I felt rejected. I've gone to all the services now and asked everyone's help.
The thing is, like I said, he's obviously ex-army. Surely there should be some kind of government funding for people who come out of the army, whether it's PTSD or other mental health problems. He obviously had come out and found it very, very hard to sort of move on. And sort of, he was born and bred in Burnley at the end of the day, but wanted to work. And like I said, one of the hardest jobs is to go into that army because you've got to be mentally strong and physically strong as well. And basically it had come out to nothing. It's absolutely unbelievable how ex-soldiers are treated.
Because it's just anxiety, depression, it makes you...
It's heartbreaking.
It really is.
No.
It hurts. Oh.
After we put Derek's claims to Calico, the company confirmed they have now fixed the issue with his front door. They told us,
"We have been in touch with our customer and taken swift action to address all of the concerns raised, and I am pleased to confirm that the door and window repairs have now been completed."
Yeah, but that was only done because, like I said, he sort of made a massive complaint and it sort of went national. That's the only reason that was done. We move on, people. I'm just picking parts of from Talk TV, the cheapest town in Britain, Burnley. It's very interesting. And this is a sort of a church charity which supports all kinds of people who can't buy food and just need someone to talk to. It's very, very interesting.
really are to those in need.
With the system being the way it is, it's quite easy for people who are in Sam's situation, without organisations like this, to slip through the net. When you slip through the net, you're no longer an issue because you don't exist. And Sam felt like that when she came here because the system basically had failed her.
Sam, who was once a dedicated stroke nurse, sadly suffered 3 herself, which left her with severe speech difficulties. Yet despite her condition, her local council told her that as a nurse, she could manage her own care. Since moving to Burnley, and with the help of Church on the Street and her friend Paul, she found her voice again.
I don't feel good. I said I'm always kids and speech. What's the name of Marks?
Seeing this lot, the way they are now, is unreal. If you'd come in when they were first started, you'd be sat here now going, how's this happened? We all know. Hard work, innit? Hard work.
Wherever we went in Burnley, we found that the sense of community was strong. And just a short drive away, we spoke to another man making meaningful change. The Hub, ran by Ibra Syed, is a one-stop shop where locals can get support for a whole range of issues.
So we are kind of the trusted partner. They feel trusted, they feel valued here where they come in, they are open to talk about anything, the family issues, people struggling with the income, housing benefit, disability benefits, trying to get an education, higher education. So we deal with all those sort of stuff. And this is how, they tell us a lot of things which they may not share with other people.
Not long after we arrived, Ibra took us to meet some of the residents he helps in the local area. One of them, soon to be centenarian Mohammed Hashim Bhatti.
It seems like what I find is it's also sort of beach towns, they're Margate and places like that, which are there's a lot of poverty. A lot of the locals don't work. Drugs are absolutely rife there. I had a girlfriend who was a nurse years and years ago. She moved out that way, and she said it's absolutely rife with drugs, and that was about 20 years ago. And I think it's the same now. I've still got one or two friends up that way at the end of the day. Unless you've got a good job, it's an absolutely struggle. And a mate was saying to me not long ago that so many people have died up there, and it's very, very hard to move away. And I imagine it's the same with Burnley. And this is why I think a lot of the young guys see no hope and go into the rugs world to make money or get in debt with rug dealers, like what we saw in the Jay Slater case, and things spiral out of control. And this was one of the reasons why we want to put basically markers out there, what could happen and how it spirals out of control, being from really poor areas and struggling to get out.
Mohammed, originally from Pakistan, devoted 21 years of his life to the British Army, serving in World War II. Despite his unwavering commitment and sacrifice, the state pension he received has meant daily life is a relentless struggle.
Just the government gave me little money. We have two sons, one daughter, one my wife, one I'm 5 people are 10 pounds. Who are very cold.
Do you sleep here in the...
I'm sleep here.
You sleep here?
They don't look for me. Very poor, I'm very poor.
The window, Mohammed tells us, was smashed when his son got into a fight. He also said that another one of his sons is currently serving 18 years in prison for murder.
Wow. That's crazy. So that just tells you when there are no jobs and it's gang related and these people are out there and they're having to prove themselves. It's like obviously the army, the guy that was the ex-army soldier turned around and said you can't really go run into the police because you're seen as a grass and you're likely to get beat up again. So it's a catch-2 situation.
My son is fighting. My son have a little knife like that. He going and punch like that in here. Or people to die. So my son goes 18 years jail. Now he in the jail. My son. Well,
obviously he made that decision to carry a knife and then he should do the time for it. It's just as simple as that. At the end of the day, you've got a choice in life whether you want to join gangs. At the end of the 18 years, at the end of the day, by the time he comes out, I'd imagine he'll be in his mid to late 30s at the end of the day. And that is the time you want to be enjoying your life, doing extra education, traveling, maybe finding a partner, starting a family, having a good job. All those things he will miss out on. And it's going to be very, very hard for him to come out after, say, if he comes out on good behaviour, after 12 years or something like that. Times have changed, and you have to sort of mentally tune into how society's changed before you end up, before you can sort of create a life back in society again. It's very, very difficult. So the reporter goes on to talk to more local people. Let's get straight into this.
It's a struggle, but I'll take care. Some people take time to talk to you, and that's what means a lot. Because it's like, well, most of them just walk past and just ignore it. And it means, when people stop and talk, it means you're human.
Did you know Burnley's the cheapest place to buy a house in the UK at the moment?
Seriously? What a joke. Sorry. No, it's a bit difficult to believe, honestly. I had a friend get evicted just after Christmas. Boxing Day, she got an eviction notice because he'd sold the houses to other people.
Everybody knows me, and I know everybody in Burnley.
You sound like Mr. Burnley.
I'm passionate about the place where I come from, mate. And everybody gets on, and everybody loves each other.
Well, I think it's rougher than it used to be.
Everywhere you go, you get your nice areas and your deprived areas, don't you?
There's not much point in buying a house for 15,000 if you don't want to live there instead.
Yeah, the new house has been built where I am, and they reckon they're selling for 50 grand. That's a brand new house.
Wow, that sounds incredibly cheap.
Well, if you saw how they went up, yeah, it is.
Life in Burnley certainly has its challenges. An affordable property doesn't necessarily translate to quality living standards. Yet many people we spoke to love living here. Plus, it's not just the houses that are cheap, it's the drinks too.
It's £2.50, but on Monday or a match day, home match days, it's £2. That's our way of saying thank you to everybody. Mondays it's £2 a pint. Shorts are £3, and our local Benedictine's £2. So we're pretty cheap, yeah.
So cheap, in fact, that some of the punters think she should be charging more.
She should put her prices up, by the way. She should put her prices up. And we come to see Sharon because she's the most amazing person in the world, because she involves everybody in everybody problems, everything, whatever. Fantastic.
Good community spirit there.
In Burnley, crumbling and outdated homes masquerade as affordable housing. Oh my. And it can be left for residents to pick up the pieces. So what's the solution? Whether it's building more houses, clamping down on failing landlords, or extra government support.
Extra government support would be good. That was part one, people, of some of the problems in Burnley. And like I say, obviously with the old guy who was telling us, like, one of his sons had basically done some wrong and is doing an 18-year prison sentence. Wow, that is just so long. And his life's ruined, basically. And it's very, very difficult to sort of travel. Maybe if he wanted to go to the States or Australia to turn his life around, he wouldn't be able to do it because of his criminal record. And it is very, very hard once you've got a criminal record of violence and stabbing someone. It really is. Let's move on to part two, people. This is from last year, where I think a lot of police were cracking down on big drug dealers, and this is from the Burnley area. Let's get straight into this.
Lancashire ways. 5 people have been jailed. 2 drugs lines have been shut down following a proactive investigation into an organised crime group operating out of Burnley. Organised crime group, which was headed by the defendants Adil Khan and Javed Mir, set up and ran the Casper and Ace drugs lines throughout East Lancashire. In order to put the organised crime group out of business, the police over in Lancashire launched Operation Marina, a lengthy investigation which saw their officers observe each member of the conspiracy committing illegal acts, as well as seizing significant amounts of Class A drugs, cash, and some weapons. The group operated from Khan's stash house in Burnley, a place they stored and packaged drugs. Trusted members of the organised crime group attended the base of operations to collect drugs and ensure the street dealers always had enough stock to sell to their customers. The head of the organised crime group was Khan, who was the main controller of the Casper drugs line. He packaged, directed and organised the supply of drugs, ensuring the street dealers were topped up, often controlling other members of the gang. Mia was Khan's second in command, who controlled the Ace line. Evidence obtained that when the line was initially set up, more than 1,000 calls were diverted directly to Mia before later being diverted to other members of the gang. Forensic evidence linked Mia to the preparing and packaging of the drugs, and inquiries also showed that he too controlled other members of the gang. Khan was stopped by the police back in May. Mia rang his codie, Matthew Hefford, and sent him to the stash house in Burnley to remove evidence of drug packaging and supply. Matthew was a significant player in the organised crime group and attended the stash house not only to top up his own drug supply but also the supplies of other dealers. There was another defendant, Qasim Amin. He was also a significant player, having regular contact with Khan, Mia and Hefford and delivering large sums of money and being topped up with mid-level weights of Class A drugs. There was Gabrielle Hughes, who was Amin's partner and was also a significant player who was involved in the preparing and packaging of the drugs and was also observed delivering cash to co-conspirators. There was a Faisal Hussain, who was a street dealer for the gang, although he did occasionally operate the Casper line under the direction of Adil Khan. So DCI Tom Edmondson of the ECID said, led by Adil Khan, this tight-knit organised crime group ran a sophisticated operation with each member playing a significant and vital role. Motivated by greed, they targeted some of the most vulnerable people in East Lancashire and spread misery by preying on people's desperation. Through proactive and diligent police work, we have managed to identify and charge these conspirators and dismantle their organisation. I welcome the sentences handed down to the defendants and hope it sends out a clear message that drug trafficking will not be tolerated on the streets of Lancashire.
That was the Burnley drug dealers, Casper and Ace, jailed after police watched their every move. Really, really interesting stuff on Burnley as well. But like I said, it's not just Burnley, Lancashire. There are many in London, Oxfordshire, Wiltshire, Birmingham, many areas I've lived in or, work in. It is very poverty stricken, some of these areas. And like I said, it's just that youngsters can get help out there. Maybe it could be from churches who try to help young people, and obviously kitchen basically houses set up by charities or or different organisations to help young people, or even if it's just a talk, which is brilliant to hear. But like I said, it does make you think that it is hard for these young kids who are growing up. They don't want to be known as a grass and tough guys. But like I said, sometimes if that you don't report bullying or being beat up, it could end up you being killed for not basically talking up. But like I said, there are organisations that can help you. Let me know what you think, people, and don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and follow the channel. Thank you very much indeed.